Sashri Akal. I want to just start off by saying thank you to all of you for your support, not only when I ran for mayor, but also well beyond that. During my time as a police chief, having served, as you know, for 18 years, and we went through a lot together with many of the hate crimes that we saw in our community during that time, unfortunate loss of life of folks from our Sikh community. And we stood shoulder to combat hate, and we also stood shoulder to educate our community in terms of what Sikhism stands for. I also want to say thank you for the contributions that the Indian community has made, not only to America, but right here in Fresno. I spend a lot of time dealing with homeless issues in our community. I have not yet to find a homeless Indian person in our community. And the reason is because of the value that you place in family, in education, in hard work, and taking care of and loving each other in your community. I do want to touch briefly on what occurred in India with the farmers. The unfair efforts by the Indian government to be able to, quite frankly, disband small farmers in India. And as a result of that, Raj had asked me to do a video, and that video ultimately ended up going across not only the nation, but across the world. And so there is one thing that I do want to touch on, and it is my desire. You know, we talk often about one Fresno. And that one Fresno to me means one unity, one community. And I am desirous of seeing the entire Indian community come together, whether that is Sikh, Muslim, or Hindu. I do have a desire to see that come together, and I do believe in one Fresno. I do want to touch on, if the time is right, on the responding to the requests or the demands that were made. Number one, with our youth. As the mayor of this city, one of the primary focuses that I have is investing in our youth. Oftentimes they say the youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow. Well, I firmly believe the youth of today are the leaders of today. And it's important that we pour into them, invest in them. I saw firsthand with our youth this last 18 to 20 months with the pandemic, and how that impacted them from a physical, mental, and emotional state. And it is so important that we invest in our youth, all of our youth. I want to touch on the topic of developing a field hockey in Fresno. I do believe we're behind the times a little bit on a number of our recreational activities, whether it's pickleball for some of our community members, which is one of the fastest growing sports in America, but also with field hockey. And let me tell you what the commitment I have in working with our council is to convene an exploratory committee with our Parks Department, our Public Works, our City Council, our Office of Community Affairs with Harjinder Saini, and as well as community representation and our County Board of Supervisors. That committee would be designed to, number one, identify potential land, and I'm thinking perhaps west of 99 as well as southeast Fresno, where we have some of our largest Indian populations, to explore other cities in America that already have this field hockey sport with youth that is growing quickly. In fact, I did some research, and I know in Oklahoma City, where our former police chief is from, there is a field hockey there within their various jurisdictions, to include Norman, Oklahoma. It would be to develop a design options for that field hockey. I know there's different types of turf, whether it's artificial turf or other. The potential cost involved, identifying funding sources. There are a lot of one-time monies available right now. State funding, federal funding, local funding, and we want to make sure that we do our due diligence to identify that. And so JR, Harjinder, will be reaching out with community members to be a part of that committee, but we'll make sure that we're doing that. We're doing something very similar in Councilmember Chavez's District 5 over at Peach in California. We have 49 acres that are going to be developed into a park, and perhaps field hockey could be played on that facility as well, along with soccer and pickleball and a number of other community sports that we can bring our youth together in one campus, one location, 49 acres, to be able to do that. So I think it's very, very doable in that respect. West of 99, we'll have to do some continue exploring. And in terms of the museum, I love the idea. I love the idea for many reasons, but let me just tell you why. Number one, I believe it promotes culture in a community. It promotes awareness and education. And it's awareness and education that, quite frankly, in the minds of our youth and community, that is going to be the number one fighter of hate crimes and bullying. Because once people understand each other, the heritage, the culture, and why certain things happen in a particular culture, I believe it's at that time that people start accepting one another for who they are, regardless of how they look. And so very much committed to that. I also think it promotes tourism, just similar to the African American Museum we have in Fresno. I know there's also conversation about a Hmong museum in Fresno as well. So we need to look at all of our rich heritage and diversity in Fresno and see how we can make that work. So yes, we're committed to exploring, working with you, both private money and public money. So with that, hopefully I covered everything. And if there's anything, we'll be in touch, definitely. Thank you all. I appreciate you very, very much.